This I consider mind-boggling, that all possible universes are countable and all possible universes can be summarized in a number you can write on a sheet of paper, all possible universes, and it's a finite number. Now, it's huge. It's a number beyond human imagination. It's a number based on what is called the Planck length, but it's a number. And so if a computer could ever simulate that number, then the universe would be a simulation.
So Edward Teller, a very famous atomic scientist who helped build the hydrogen bomb, took an interest in me. Now, what I didn't know was that Edward Teller was essentially recruiting a bunch of young top-flight physicists from the West Coast to work on third-generation hydrogen bombs, to work on the X-ray laser, the Excalibur, all these systems that got President Ronald Reagan enamored of this whole nuclear shield around the United States, energized by third-generation hydrogen. He was ostracized from the mainstream of the scientific community. Yeah. And he also knows that young scientists, very young scientists, come up with all the creative ideas to manufacture hydrogen bombs. A hydrogen bomb is like a watch. It's a very delicate device. It requires top talent, not hacks, to build these things. Yeah. And he essentially recruited these things through the Hertz Engineering Scholarship. Yeah.
Yes. String theory simply says that all the particles we see in nature, the electron, the proton, the quarks, what have you, are nothing but vibrations on a musical string, on a tiny, tiny little string. Well, today we think they're nothing but musical notes on these tiny little vibrating strings. So what is physics? Physics is the harmonies you can write on vibrating strings. What is chemistry? Chemistry is the melodies you can play on these strings. What is the universe? The universe is a symphony of strings. And so the future of the internet will be BrainNet. It is, we'll send emotions and feelings across the internet. That's the future of the movies. Instead of looking at a flat screen with sound, we'll have full immersion entertainment. We'll feel, we'll have the memories, we'll have the sensations and emotions of the actors and actresses in a film. And I also think that's the future of the human race. When we get into science fiction now, everything up to now we can do in the laboratory. But when we get into science fiction, realize that once we have the connectome, we could put that on a laser beam and shoot that laser beam into outer space at the speed of light. To go to the moon would require 1 second to go to the moon. By firing the connectome to the moon, where there's a relay station, that then downloads the connectome into an avatar, and there you are. You are now a superhuman robot walking on the surface of the moon with all the memories and sensations of a human. And so I think that we are going to digitize ourselves and give us digital immortality. We'll not only have biologic, genetic immortality of some sort, but also digital immortality. And what are we going to do with it? I think we should send it into outer space. If you digitize the human brain and put it on a laser beam and shoot it to the moon, you're on the moon in 1 second. Shoot it to Mars, you're on Mars in 20 minutes. Shoot it to Pluto, you're on Pluto in 8 hours. Think about it for a moment. You can have breakfast in New York, and for a morning snack, vacation on the moon, then zap your way to Mars by noontime, journey through the asteroid belt in the afternoon, and then come back for dinner in New York at night. All in a day's work, at the speed of light. The universe, we think, is expanding into another dimension. So think of a balloon. If you have a bug on a balloon, the bug would say, well, my balloon is expanding. I can measure the rate at which the balloon expands. But then you ask the bug, well, what are you expanding into? And the bug will say, I don't know. The balloon is all there is. The universe is the balloon. So what is a balloon expanding into? Well, obviously the third dimension. We think our balloon is expanding into 11-dimensional hyperspace. Now, get your head around that. We're way beyond the fourth dimension. We think that the instant of creation was basically a quantum fluctuation in 11-dimensional hyperspace. And so the future of the internet will be BrainNet. It is, we'll send emotions and feelings across the internet. That's the future of the movies. Instead of looking at a flat screen with sound, we'll have full immersion entertainment. We'll feel, we'll have the memories, we'll have the sensations and emotions of the actors and actresses in a film. And I also think that's the future of the human race. When we get into science fiction now, everything up to now we can do in the laboratory. But when we get into science fiction, realize that once we have the connectome, we could put that on a laser beam and shoot that laser beam into outer space at the speed of light. To go to the moon would require 1 second to go to the moon. By firing the connectome to the moon, where there's a relay station, that then downloads the connectome into an avatar,
And there you are. You are now a superhuman robot walking on the surface of the moon with all the memories and sensations of a human.
What's the difference between a meteor and a meteorite?
Well, that flash of light that you see whizzing across the sky is caused by a rock that burns up in the atmosphere, and that's called a meteor. Either the rock itself or the streak of light. However, once it hits the ground, it becomes a mineral. So we call it a meteorite. So a meteorite is a meteor which has fallen from the sky. Every single optics textbook on the planet Earth is wrong in saying that invisibility is a class 3 impossibility. Just 3 years ago, we did it with microwave radiation. It turns out that you can build a cylinder like a Harry Potter cloak. Microwaves will hit the cylinder, wrap around the cylinder, come out the other end as if you are not there at all. With light, we think you can also do it with light beams now. In Germany, they actually made a small particle disappear optically. So in the future, we may have an invisibility cloak. Light will come at you, light will bend around Harry Potter, reform on the other side of Harry Potter, and Harry Potter inside this cloak becomes invisible. Just like a boulder in a stream. If you're downstream of a boulder, you don't know there's a boulder upstream because water wrapped around the boulder and reformed. Well, we've done it in the laboratory. The index of refraction can actually be negative. We never thought that was possible because there was a loophole in the laws of optics. We always assumed that materials like glass are uniform. Once you make them highly non-uniform, you create what are called metamaterials, and bingo, objects can become invisible. So something that was class 3 now becomes something called class 1.